All right, everybody, welcome to BO Boys for Wednesday, March 26th. Fuck it, it's a raw feed. We're doing it live in studio. I'm Clayton.
Yeah, I'm Pat. So, Clayton, this is the weekend preview. We're going to be talking about the new movies coming out this weekend. We got what should have been called National Lampoon's Working Stiff. Of course, it's called Working Man. Is it Working Man?
Working Man?
A Working Man with Jason Statham. That's coming out. Death of a Unicorn is coming out. There's The Chosen, The Last Supper, special Fathom event, some kind of movie theater Chosen-based event this weekend. But before we get into those, Clayton, we got some huge news stories that we got to go through on this episode. I think we start with the live stream.
Oh, you have to.
We have to.
It took up so much of our lives and our time today.
Clayton, were you today, all day, putting aside your work, putting aside your relationships, feeding yourself, putting all that aside so that you could sit at a computer or, better yet, on your phone, watching as Marvel every 15 minutes revealed a director's chair with an actor's name on the back of it to say that that person will make a cameo appearance in the Avengers Doomsday? Is that how you spent your day?
Absolutely. I had a big opportunity. I had a big lucrative opportunity I can't get into because obviously, I'm not going to spoil the story, but I guess I will. I didn't get it. And the reason being is because I had to watch this live stream.
You had to.
I had to. I had to. And the person was saying, well, we just want to ask you a few questions. This is really a formality, and then the
money just starts.
And then the money just starts going in.
Yeah.
So we just need your, what's your bank routing number and all that stuff.
Oh,
and
you were at that stage.
And
it was
Swiss
bank
shh,
account.
and then I'm like, shut the fuck up, shut the fuck up. Namor's in it. Namor's in it. Namor's in it. And what are you talking? I'm like, shut up.
Yeah. Namor's in the stream.
Yeah. Namor's in the stream.
Yeah.
And he didn't get it. He didn't understand.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm really going to take this large sum of money from you for basically doing almost nothing when you aren't watching this. You should be watching this live stream.
Everyone should be watching this Marvel live stream today.
Business should have shut down. Everybody was going to do that walkout on whatever day that was, and nobody did it.
Right.
This was the day to stop down work.
Yes. Because
live stream.
I got to watch I got to see these chairs line up one by one every 15 minutes with an actor's name on it. I mean, if you are an MCU superfan, today you were eating up there.
Yeah.
You were eating up there watching this live stream. You had your Pringles, you had your pizza, you had your phone, and you're just watching chair after chair after chair, side by side. No people in the chairs, Clayton. What do you think of that decision that Marvel's 8-hour-plus live stream contained no human beings, only chairs with names on the back of them?
I mean, I think it just brings the anticipation to a fervent level where if you don't see people, then you're imagining, oh my gosh, how cool is it going to be when they sit in the chairs?
Right. When they sit in the chair in front of a green screen to film their cameo in this gigantic movie.
Yeah. It's like Chekhov's gun. What is it? Chekhov's gun or what? No,
Chekhov's gun.
Is that what it is?
If you see the gun and someone eventually, you'll get shot.
And that's the thing with the chairs.
Yes.
Someone's going to sit in those chairs. You don't show a chair without eventually somebody sitting in it.
Well, here's something I was thinking while I was, of course, also 8 hours straight, foregoing any relationships, any work, just to watch this MCU live stream of chairs with names on them. The empty chairs. And I was watching this and I was thinking, whose idea was this? Because you got the Russo brothers, they're been brought back, crawling back, whatever you want to say. They're back in the MCU. I don't think this was their idea.
No.
Here's who I think was running this MCU live stream today. Someone who has been insulted, shunned by his home studio of Warner Brothers. I think this was Clint Eastwood.
I was going to say, who is famous for conversing with empty chairs?
Yep. Yeah. I think this live stream from the MCU was a Clint Eastwood production. I think he came in and he was the one who said, guys, empty chairs.
Did we miss the announcement that Clint Eastwood has jumped studios to Disney and will be directing a Marvel film.
As I was watching this procession of empty chairs for 8 hours straight,
Yeah.
and I was eating up there because, of course, you can't get better entertainment than 8 hours of empty chairs being unveiled every 15 minutes.
Yeah.
I was assuming the last name on the final chair would have to be Clint Eastwood.
Yes.
Because empty chairs is the domain of Clint Eastwood. He is the guy who made empty chairs famous.
He does one take.
Yep.
And he talks to chairs, empty chairs.
Yep. Those are his two things.
That's how it'll be remembered.
Yes. Empty chairs, one take. That's all you need to know.
Gene Hackman only has one thing, Popeye Doyle.
Yep. Clint Eastwood has two.
Yeah.
He does one take and he does empty chairs.
Yeah.
So his name was not in the procession of empty chair names today. It was, the final name was Robert Downey Jr. So.
And wasn't he in the chair? I think Robert Downey Jr. actually was in the chair.
He was in the chair.
Yeah.
Okay. I will admit, I did have to move on before we got to the final chair.
Yeah.
I tried to get all the way to the end, but it was too much excitement for me.
Yeah.
And I knew if I stayed watching this 8-hour live stream to the very end, listen, I'm in great shape, but even for someone like me, that might be too much excitement for my heart to take.
Strain, yeah.
So then I did have to go towards the end to just read names off a list.
Yeah.
I do wonder, do you think there were MCU fans who today that started their day with, I'm going to watch all 8 hours of this live stream, of this procession of empty chairs with names on them, and they got their Pringles, they got their pizza, they're ready to eat up there, and by the end, their heart gave out because this live stream was just too exciting for these MCU fans?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's the way this could backfire.
Right.
Is that you already have a fan base that is, I would say, on the unhealthy side. Mm-hmm. And when you couple that with just the bevy of names that they were revealing, that's dangerous.
It is, because there was a point in this live stream where they unveiled in a row these names: Kelsey Grammer, Rebecca Romaine, Alan Cumming, and James Marsden, all in a row. And
I grabbed my chest.
Right.
You can't, if you're not watching, you're not getting the whole story, obviously, because we're YouTubers. Hey, guys. I grabbed my chest.
Yes.
Approximately where a heart would be.
Yep. Yeah, right in the middle. So you might be off a little bit.
Yeah.
But close enough that we got it. We got it. You made the accepted heart, gesture. Yeah.
Clutch. Yeah.
And that's me just saying those names to you. Imagine
seeing a chair with the name on it.
Exactly. Every 15 minutes where you've waited.
My arm is numb.
Right. And that's what a lot of people went through today.
Yeah.
Every 15 minutes, a different empty chair unveiled on a live stream with a new name. And you're looking at Kelsey Grammer on the back of a chair. You wait 15 minutes, and then it's Alan Cumming.
Yeah.
And you're again.
And then you're coming.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Had to do
I didn't have to. But I did.
He did it. And
sorry.
That is what
sorry, Mom. Sorry, Dad.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
That is what these MCU superfans were going through today.
Yeah.
And I think this live stream got a lot of publicity.
Yeah.
You just hope that tomorrow it's not the bad publicity where there is just a rash of heart attacks all over the country with people dying, exploded hearts and their phone in their hand.
Yeah.
And a slice of pizza in the other hand, and they land face first into a batch of Pringles.
Yeah. I mean, so I who the other person I thought about was our superhero expert, David Thompson.
Yes, of the Cinema Spending podcast. Yes.
And listen, I hope today wasn't his anniversary. Because imagine he's watching this live stream and ignoring, who knows, I don't know how long he's been with his partner, but say it's like 10 years.
10 years. Today's the 10-year anniversary of David Thompson. Let's just say.
And you're celebrating with whatever 10 years is, like copper, whatever it is. I don't know what it is. and you were going to
I think
go.
it's rubber. I think it's rubber.
Okay, so you were gonna go to the dump and like
Get a tire.
Get a tire. That's what you do, right? If it was copper, you'd go to the empty house down the block and
start
tear out
stripping
wires.
Yeah.
And so he's like, he had so much to do. He's a busy man. He's got podcasts. He's writing articles. He was like, this morning, I'm going to get up. I'm going to go grab that tire.
Right. 10-year anniversary, rubber anniversary.
It's huge. And then all of a sudden, what pops on, his screen? He gets this email. Live stream
today. 8 hours of empty chairs being unveiled,
and he's staring at empty chairs, and he's writing articles, and he's doing. I mean, listen,
he has to.
Job. He has to.
That's how.
But how do you explain that?
Right.
Right.
I mean, you explain it by saying, "This is the life that I've chosen, and you knew who I was when you married me.
You knew who I was.
You knew who I was.
I mean, I would say don't raise your voice, but like I'm just doing it for a dramatic effect.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
you knew who I was. Like.
Right.
You know who I was when
Right. You don't want it, but
don't do that. But that's
what's underneath.
That's what's underneath.
You knew who I was. I'm the guy who I have to watch the 8-hour live stream of chairs being unveiled with names on the back.
Yeah.
And so there were people who I think were injured today trying to watch this out of pleasure. There were people who this was their job where they just couldn't stop watching. Like obviously, I was able to stop watching at some point. We're not covering only comic book movies, comic books. So, we were able to. But there were people who were not afforded that. 8 hours, they had to watch these chairs being unveiled.
Yeah. I mean,
God bless them.
Yeah. I turned down a lucrative offer.
Yeah.
But,
there'll be others.
There's going to be others.
There'll be other people who are saying, let me wire some money into your account and don't ask me about why.
There's so many suckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I would say in the end, though, after all these chairs with names on the back were unveiled, to me, nothing shocking about any of these names. I mean, most of these names were people who have been in Marvel movies already. Did I miss anyone? There was not a Tom Cruise.
No.
There was not a name.
Jack Nicholson.
There was not a Jack Nicholson. Were there names that people would have wanted to be in there that weren't who had previously? There was no Chris Evans coming back. There's no Chris Pine. Was he a name on a chair? He was not.
No.
Hemsworth was the only
Pine
Chris.
was never in the
Pratt.
Oh, Chris Pratt.
Yeah. So there was no Chris Pratt. There was no Chris Evans.
No.
There was a Chris Hemsworth.
Yes. He was the first that you knew, because it's like, what else is he going to do?
Exactly.
There's absolutely nothing other than his fitness app. He could double down on that.
Right.
OnlyFans or join Thunder from Down Under.
Right.
Which is what I think he will end up doing.
Yeah. I mean,
the all-male naked dancing review, Thunder from Down Under.
That could be what he does in Avengers Doomsday, is they just cut to a Thunder from Down Under Vegas review to show that this is what Thor's up to. Now we cut back to the Avengers in action.
Yeah.
And it's a way of promoting his residency at Thunder Down Under.
Yeah. Chris Hemsworth, brackets Thor, will return.
Yeah.
On these
Thursday
tour
night.
dates.
Yeah.
Yeah. For Thunder.
Yeah. At Fontainebleau. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, those names were, I would say, underwhelming in the end. Obviously, the reveal of empty chairs as an act is an incredible presentation thought of by Clint Eastwood. But the actual names, especially ending with Robert Downey Jr., who
we already knew,
who already had the big unveiling when he put on the dime store Dr. Doom costume at Comic-Con last year. You're ending on something that had already been a big announcement. Again, it's like, if you're going to do this, I feel like you got to have a Tom Cruise in your back pocket, or else what's the point?
The big one was Channing Tatum, but obviously that was a cameo in the Deadpool Wolverine film.
Right.
So that was sort of a surprise, but not really, because there had been a lot of talk about how he wanted to do Gambit again, and there was so much buzz that it would sort of be a missed opportunity if they didn't have him.
Yeah.
I think the big surprise was all the old X-Men actors coming back.
Oh, yeah. Ian McKellen's coming back. Patrick Stewart. Kelsey Grammer.
Rebecca Romaine.
Yeah.
So
Marsden is
Marsden.
back.
Yeah.
Marsden should play his character from the Sonic movies, though.
Yeah.
I feel like at this point, that's the more marketable Marsden, is him saying, hey, I just came from hanging out with Sonic. Obviously, you can't show Sonic in these Marvel movies because that's a Paramount property. Of course, that was a big Bob Iger regret, as he didn't buy Sonic. Go back to some of our original B.O. Boys episodes where we walk through that. But Marsden in this Marvel Doomsday movie saying, hey, I just came from hanging out with Sonic. Maybe you have to bleep the name out. But still, that I think that's better than, who is he? He's the guy with the laser in his eye? Cyclops, yeah.
I mean, there's been times where, say, they've had a character. So Richard Dreyfuss reprised his Jaws role for Piranha 3D.
Yes.
But I don't think they ever used his name.
But we knew.
And speaking of Gene Hackman, Popeye Doyle, R.I.P., rest in Popeye, he supposedly was supposed to be the same character in Enemy of the State as he was in The Conversation, but they never used the name.
But we knew.
We knew. So they can do that again.
Yes.
He's just the guy that hangs out with Sonic.
Yes.
Because he could be like, my fast blue buddy.
My fast blue buddy. I was just hanging out with my fast blue buddy. Turns to the camera like I'm doing here on YouTube. Wink.
My FBB.
Hey, yep.
I was with my FBB, my fast blue buddy.
And then he could say, later on, I was just hanging out with the hedgehog.
Yeah.
And then Deadpool could come in, make a porn reference.
Yeah.
And then be like, different hedgehog.
Yeah, the different hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
Yeah, that one got canceled.
So, right. And they would inform James Marsden's character of that in the movie. He didn't know.
No, he didn't know.
So, yeah, I guess that's an interesting thing for the Marvel super fans, that these old X-Men are going to be back. But again, even with that, I think that was all pretty expected. I mean, Patrick Stewart was in the Doctor Strange Mouth of Madness movie.
Unexpected.
Kelsey Grammer, didn't he do a cameo, or he mentioned the X-Men on the Frasier reboot? Like, I feel like he was also already being brought back.
I think the unexpected thing is the X-Men's involvement in an Avengers movie. I think that's what it is.
Right.
I think, and in the fact that they're going to continue to use these original X-Men characters the way, when they tried to do First Class and then nobody gave a shit, basically, with that timeline. So they had to bring the old ones in. It's like, that's what's happening with Marvel, is that they just don't have confidence in any newbies. Now, a lot of the Thunderbolts cast is coming back for this movie, because the rumor is that they're going to be the actual Avengers. Like, the asterisk means that they're actually the Dark Avengers or whatever.
Okay.
And so...
Which is not bad Avengers, that's just like...
Well, they are bad. I don't want to get into this
let's not
crap,
get into this.
And you don't. You definitely don't want to get into this.
I definitely do not.
That question you probably would regret asking if I went down a rabbit hole.
Okay.
And all the fanboys, I know, they're yelling and yelling at me. Don't give yourself heart attacks. You just watched 7 hours of empty chairs. Sit down, calm down.
Yeah.
All right? And send an email tomorrow after you're well rested.
Yes.
Okay? Because I don't want any of your heart attacks, your coronaries on my head.
Yeah.
Put that on the Russos and Downey and Clint Eastwood.
Yeah. Yeah, because he definitely orchestrated this. Okay, so that was the live stream. I mean, we're going to be dissecting the fallout of this live stream of chairs probably for weeks and months to come. This is rocked, I would say, Hollywood to its core today, this live stream of chairs with names on the back. And we will continue to cover it. Of course.
Okay, sorry.
What is your big take on this?
Here's what would have been truly shocking.
Okay, tell us.
And I don't know if you want to get into this because we have so much other big news, but we have been speculating about the Looney Tunes. We talked about Ketchup Entertainment trying to hostily take over, steal the Looney Tunes. Well, turns out, there was a report that came out that Warner Brothers and Zaslav are trying to outright sell the Looney Tunes.
Yes.
So I guess the Property Brothers and Dr. Pimple Popper need money, so they're like, let's unload cultural icons.
Yeah.
So that we can pay the Property Brothers.
Do you think at this point the Property Brothers are in that room with David Zaslav, CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery, where they're telling him, I need the money. I and my brother, we need this money for property, for whatever. Whatever it is we need this money for.
Whatever we're into.
Yes.
Don't Google
what we, the Property Brothers, are into, but we need the money. Zaz, just sell Bugs. Sell the Looney Tunes.
Sell Taz.
Sell Taz.
Sell the Roadrunner.
Yep.
Sell Coyote.
And Dr. Pimple Popper, he pops up. Mm-hmm. He's just, he's
covered in pus.
And he says, Tweety. Sell Tweety, too.
Yeah.
Sell Tweety. Sell Tweety. That's how he sounds, Dr. Pimple
Tweety.
Let me pop your pimple. That is what that whole show is.
Can I pop your pimple?
Can I pop your pimple?
Yeah. Hey guys, can I pop your pimple?
That's the whole show. Hours and hours of that. And that is
seasons.
That is what Zaslav needs
35 episodes a season.
35 episodes. You know what? At least he's employing a lot of people with pimples on that show. They're getting paid, I hope.
They're getting scale. And scales. So here's the thing. All this to say, a truly shocking reveal would be Downey. Okay, whatever. Does his Bugs Bunny impersonation, because basically Robert Downey Jr. is a guy trying to be Bugs Bunny.
Yes, he's trying to be Brad Pitt meets Bugs
Bunny, right? And listen, if this was Hinge, you know which way I'd be swiping.
Mm-hmm.
But last chair just says Bunny.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And then in front comes a hole, right?
Yeah.
Out pops Bugs Bunny.
Yeah.
And he said, I must have made a wrong turn at Albuquerque.
Wow.
And now we know Disney bought the tunes.
And I know we have spent a lot of time on this Looney Tunes situation, which has been well deserved.
We're the only people covering this.
Well, here's the thing. We went into detail on the scam that Zaslav was obviously falling for when it came to Ketchup Entertainment getting the rights to these Looney Tunes movies. We covered that. We went into depth on that. And then the story breaks after those episodes that Warner Brothers is looking to sell the Looney Tunes.
That's the save face.
We are the ones who know.
Yeah.
Before the thing happens, the B.O. boys already knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
And we've done this time. If you are a longtime listener to the show, there is time after time after time where we have talked about something like that on the show. And then guess what? Does it happen? Yes, it happens. We say it and it happens. And here it is.
Yeah.
We talked about how the Looney Tunes were leaving Warner Brothers, and that is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be doubly right because I do think Ketchup Entertainment will be the ones who end up with the Looney Tunes brand.
Okay.
I think that is happening. I know Disney revealing that Bugs is going to be in the Avengers would have been a huge chair moment.
Yeah.
But I think this is Ketchup Entertainment has taken this all the way.
Mm-hmm.
They will own the Looney Tunes.
Will be huge for them.
Hey guys.
Ketchup
Entertainment will own Bugs Bunny outright. Bank on that.
Okay.
So let's move on to another story that broke today. Huge story, aka huge hit piece in Variety about Snow White.
Yeah.
And it was an article about how did Snow White's production go wrong? How did this movie about a iconic, longtime beloved property with a big budget open to only $42 million? How did that happen? How did Disney's Snow White bomb in its opening weekend? And Variety had the answer. It was all the fault of actress Rachel Zegler.
Completely. Because we all know movies are not made by a collective.
No.
They're not made by studio execs and producers and above the line and below the line and, other actors. They're made by one person.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Listen, the only one-man show going on right now in Hollywood is Jenna Ortega on Wednesday.
Yes. She writes, she directs, she produces.
She does everything because nobody else understands that character. So we understand that. So she's doing
But according to Variety, that was a Snow White situation. Everything that went wrong on Snow White was the fault of the actress who had previously been in, I think, 3 movies, one of which was a Kyle Mooney directed.
She was in Y2K.
She was in Y2K.
She was in
West Side Story
and Snakes and Onions. The Catching Fire.
The Hunger Games trilogy prequel. Yes,
Catching Hunger.
That's the title of it.
Yeah.
So
Snakes and Onions.
So we don't have to go into detail on the specifics, but basically, this entire article, they go into depth about Rachel Zegler's tweets and how Disney, she would tweet something and then Disney would be completely taken aback by her tweets and have no ability to influence her at all.
No.
They could not stop her.
No.
And these tweets apparently were the most destructive thing that any movie has ever faced.
Yeah.
Is the tweets of an actress on the movie.
Yeah.
Are the reason why years later the audience didn't want this movie.
Years later.
Yeah. And Disney, they just, what could you do? Disney was just helpless in the face of
the powerhouse
of
Rachel Zegler, because she's so powerful in this industry.
Yeah. So powerful. And Disney, who, according to Variety, you got to feel for Disney.
I feel so bad for them here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They could not do anything in the face of this powerhouse. And that is why so apparently Snow White didn't bomb because the marketing wasn't great or because the take on this movie offered nothing interesting.
Or that it's a musty IP and one of the least popular current princesses just because of how outdated it is?
No, according to Variety, in a totally unbiased, not hit piece article, it was because of the tweets of the actress who most people have never heard of before.
Because, and listen, you have nieces.
Yes.
And obviously they are heavily on Twitter X.
Yes, of course. The 4-year-old, 7-year-old, yeah. They're the main thing that influences whether they want to see a princess movie are tweets from 2 years ago.
So they were, obviously, you said to them, hey, do you want to go see Snow White? And they said, hold on a second. Let me pull up some tweets for you.
Yeah.
And they showed you all the tweets because they have them saved on their phone because that's how important it was to them.
Yes.
And they were like, I would never, why would you ask me such a stupid question as to whether I wanted to see this movie or not?
Right.
Don't you remember the tweets?
Well, aside from the tweets, this article, which is, clearly not a hit piece organized by the studio who were embarrassed by how they screwed up the movie, clearly just an unbiased article.
By an unbiased writer who's never written anything that would even be close to a hit piece.
No. This writer, when they wrote an article a few years ago about Melissa Barrera and how she needed to be kicked off the Scream movies.
Very even-handed.
Very even-handed by this writer writing both articles. Clearly doesn't have a specific purpose in their writing to be a hit person for studios when they want to get rid of an actress and blame their failures on an actress. Definitely not that.
No.
They also go into how devastating it was that this actress said that some comments about how she didn't love the original Snow White cartoon. And clearly that is the decision-making that people used. That was the reason for why they didn't go see Snow White this weekend. Not because, again, the dwarves were CGI monstrosities.
Companions.
That didn't influence people at all.
No.
It was tweets and press junket comments from 2 years ago. So, yeah, I guess, before this article broke, we were giving Disney a hard time about how unimaginative their take on this property was.
Yeah.
How the companions were just
a
blobs.
Missed opportunity.
A missed opportunity. The fact that they didn't cast any stars of any name value in the roles of the companions or, any of the other parts. We really were blaming Disney for that. But I think after this Variety article, obviously it's clear it's only the fault of the actress who's been in three movies before this.
Yeah, and I think this is good because this sort of does our job for us, right? Because we were sitting here trying to think why and come up with reasons that were based on what people wanted to see and the success of other IPs. And really what we should be doing is just blaming actresses.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, that's who's to blame.
Well, definitely the main thing, which was clear in this Variety article that was obviously not a hit piece.
Not a hit piece.
It is clear that you do not blame studio executives.
No.
It is not their fault.
What are they supposed to do? They're supposed to sit somebody down and talk to them?
Right.
Do you know how hard it is to talk to people and like have a confrontation with somebody?
And they definitely cannot make better creative decisions about the types of movies that they make. They cannot.
No.
It's not on them. It is on the tweets of an unknown actress from 2 years ago.
Yes.
So,
absolutely. So like
do not blame studio executives. Do not, hey guys, right into camera.
Yeah.
The Disney studio executives bear no blame for Snow White opening to less than Dumbo did. Mm-hmm. No blame.
More than Mufasa, but less than Dumbo.
Yeah. Not up against Sonic, of course.
Yeah, true. Not against Sonic. So, yeah.
No blame. Do not blame the Disney execs. Thank God for that not a hit piece Variety article that came out today.
Yes. So much clarity from that.
Yes. So let's move on to this weekend.
Uh-huh.
We've got some movies coming out, one of which I am going to see. I'm scheduled to see on Saturday.
And I'm shocked by this.
It is a shocking announcement that I made right before we got on air. I will be seeing Death of a Unicorn this weekend with the compact critic himself, Chris Klemmer, a Barstool past and future guest here.
Wow.
We just got to go. He has to go.
He has to go.
This movie from A24, Paul Rudd, Jenna Ortega.
Jenna. What's your excuse here?
What is my excuse?
Yeah.
It's just an opportunity to hang out with the compact critic, Chris Klemmer. That's the long and short of it.
Okay.
It's
that's the short and curlies of it.
When you get that chance, you got to take it. And so I'm taking it. I'm taking the unicorn by the horn.
Kirk's flying in and joining you guys. Okay, I'll join. Kirk's flying in and he's going to come and see Death of a Unicorn.
So I think he should.
Okay.
I think this is something that makes a lot of sense right now. He's on a brief hiatus from his show.
So he's got plenty of time, so he can come see the city.
I think it would
go to Central Park.
The invitation is out there, but as of now, Kirk Minahan, Podcast Jesus, is not scheduled to see this with us. I will be seeing another movie with Chris Klemmer without Kirk. So now, with that known, will you be joining us to see Death of a Unicorn this weekend?
Nope.
Wow.
You know my stance on this.
You've got the loyalty, and I just go wherever the money is.
You really do.
So
you just want that compact critic clout. Are you squatting in one of his videos?
If he asks me to squat,
you're gonna squat.
I will squat in a vertical video reviewing Death of a Unicorn this weekend.
Wow.
If he asks, and he hasn't made any promises, but I got a good feeling that you go through your Twitter X, your TikTok feeds this weekend. Got a good feeling you're going to see Pat of the B.O. Boys squatting right next to the compact critic talking about Death of a Unicorn.
I
look for that.
Shocked.
If it happens, I'm right into camera. VP of Interns Christopher, you retweet that, repost that, re-TikTok it, whatever it is you got to do. If that video hits the timeline, it from the @the Boys podcast account.
And make sure that you put a writing on this video, a caption on this video that says not present Clayton.
Not present Clayton.
Because I don't want Kirk to think, oh, is Clayton just not fitting in the frame?
I'll say that in the video. I'll say that as I squat. If I'm asked.
And you're hoping against hope that you are asked, and I know it.
I'm not.
It's grossing me out.
If I'm asked, I will squat and talk about Death of a Unicorn. So this movie, A24, it's going to be another one of their horror, sort of, but probably not until the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Is this, though, a more appealing version to audiences of that genre of A24 movie because of the cast? You don't think Paul Rudd, who is famous and is a Marvel star, but more importantly, Jenna.
He had an empty chair.
Will
the empty chair buzz help?
I think it doesn't hurt. And did you see they did a little empty chair for him? They did an Ant-Man size empty chair. So I think his empty chair actually stands out and gets him more buzz.
Cute.
So he's got that buzz, empty chair buzz. And Jenna Ortega is a star. She is a person who people go to the movies to see.
Uh-huh.
And I think she helped Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice, obviously.
She helped Miller's Girl. Like, dead serious.
Yeah.
That movie would have done...
Zero. Yeah. I mean, that movie will end up made more than the Alto Nights.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenna Ortega gets her fans to go to things. I do think this movie, whether it's going to be terrible, I've heard bad things from certain critics, that we know and trust. I think there's a good chance this is bad, but I do think Jenna and Paul Rudd, to a lesser extent, make this a bigger than usual A24 crappy faux horror comedy movie.
It's just just another stinker from A24.
You're pre-branding this a stinker.
Anybody I've mentioned this movie to has said that looks terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a wide swath of people. It's not just you. It's not just my inner circle.
Right.
I interact with other people.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. Shocking. But it's been something that I've been asking people because I have to ask myself, do I have a bias against this movie?
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm being honest, I do.
Yeah.
But when I ask the question, what do you think of that Death of a Unicorn movie? I'm not showing my bias. I'm just curious.
But you are checking your biases.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
I'm
you're
checking my
examining your
biases at the door.
Yeah.
And I'm asking people, and to a person, they've said, oh, that looks terrible.
Yeah. Yeah.
If they even know it's in existence. But that's the other thing.
Unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
Are unicorns an anti-draw? Is the idea that this movie will have a unicorn in it immediately turn people off?
Well, there is the
if this
bronies.
was a minotaur, if this was a what are some other mythical beasts? If this were like a hydra, would that be more appealing?
A Cerberus.
Okay, if this was a Cerberus, yeah. Would those mythical creatures be more or less appealing than unicorns? Are unicorns specifically cornball mythical creatures?
I think there's a kitsch thing that is a turnoff to me about it.
Right.
I think they do have cultural cachet because they are more popular than, say, a Cerberus.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think if it was like Death of a Cerberus, you'd be like, what's a Cerberus? I wouldn't. You wouldn't. But most people who don't read literature would have that question. Any, frankly, dumbass on the street can tell you what a unicorn looks like.
Right. Well, and unicorns, I think, have also crossed over just into, in a big way, unlike minotaurs, into young lady sort of fandom. You know, unicorn stickers, unicorn decorations, and
unicorn horns.
Yeah, yeah. So I think unicorns just
wasn't there a whole store? I remember there was a whole store in Brooklyn that was a unicorn store, and it was all stuff that you could use to dress up your kid as a unicorn. And I'm not being facetious. I'm not being cute. This isn't a bit. We don't do bits. I remember walking past that on Flatbush Avenue.
That may have been a store. It may have been a bar. It may have been, like
Could have been a pop-up.
It could have been a pop-up. It could have been an Airbnb that's unicorn themed. But I agree. That definitely existed. You're not being facetious.
Mm-hmm.
So unicorns do have a pretty high Q rating for mythical creatures. But wasn't there a unicorn movie with Brie Larson a few years ago? Did she direct and star in?
She directed and starred in a direct-to-Netflix movie, I think called The Unicorn Store.
The Unicorn Store, yes. Maybe is that what you're thinking of?
No.
This really was on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn. This was not
really on Flatbush Avenue in Brooklyn in Park Slope.
Okay, and not the Brie Larson movie, because, yes, that was called The Unicorn Store, and she was a quirky, we'll just say she was a quirky gal.
2017.
How time flies. Brie Larson's directorial debut was 8 years ago now.
Mm-hmm.
Weird, wild stuff.
Samuel Jackson was in it.
Right.
Hamish Linklater.
Oh, wow.
Joan Cusack. Bradley Whitford.
Huge cast, all-star cast. They did the empty chair reveals for that movie, right? When it was in pre-production,
Mm-hmm.
The Unicorn Store had I think though then it was a Tumblr account where they were unveiling chairs with Hamish Linklater's name, Samuel Jackson. So I do think there is they have a high Q rating, unicorns, but people do get their guard up when they hear there's a movie about unicorns.
Mm-hmm.
So I think...
Oh, sorry. It was not released until 2019. It premiered in 2017 at TIFF.
Wow.
So they held on to this for a while. So
they held on to it.
2019.
Probably hoping for a theatrical release. That didn't happen. Let's be honest. So I think that the overperformance of this movie, and we'll give our predictions at the end of the episode, if it happens, it's all because of Jenna Ortega.
Yes.
Fighting against the waves of all the other things this movie has going against it, which is people starting to have mistrust in A24, unicorns being looked at as corny, horror comedy being such a tough genre to pull off that it kind of turns people off. There's a lot going against this movie.
Yeah.
But if this movie opens in double digits, that is a win for Jenna Ortega. So
absolutely. That is something I think that the success of this movie does hinge so much on her, more so than Paul Rudd, more so than
Will Poulter,
Tia Leone.
I mean,
even though that's why you're going.
I mean, listen, my review of this movie, if I get to do it, squat next to the compact critic Chris Clemmer.
Can I say it?
Say it.
The naked truth. The naked truth about
this movie is that I'm going to love it because Tia Leone's in it. So let's be honest.
Yeah.
So
you are a bad boy.
Oh, yeah. I am a bad boy. And what was her dating show? The first sitcom. That was the greatest one. The first time we saw Tia Leone. Write us or put in the comments below. I'm forgetting the name of it. But it was this sitcom where it was just about Tia Leone going on dates. And I remember as a kid, this was my favorite show ever. I think it was 3 episodes of Fox Sunday Night Show.
Oh, wow. Yes.
It'll hit me at some point. I'll just blurt the title out in the middle of whatever bullshit you're saying later in the episode. So
that'd be a beautiful interruption.
So, yeah, I'm going to love this movie because Tia Leone's in it.
Yeah.
Come on. But I agree she's probably not really drawing big audiences to movie theaters in 2025.
No.
But it's all on Jenna Ortega. If this movie were to flop,
Y2K flop,
does A24 go out to the writer from Variety who did the Melissa Barrera article, who did the Rachel Zegler article that were not hit pieces, obviously, and get them to write a behind the scenes of how Jenna Ortega is the one to blame for Death of a Unicorn? If that happens, does that work?
Ooh.
I'd love to see them try to expose that truth.
Truth.
Hey guys, YouTubers, see me with the finger quotes. Truth.
Yeah.
Love to see them try what they did to Melissa Barrera and Rachel Zegler. Try that on Jenna Ortega, exposing that truth.
Truth, yeah. Yeah, so, see how well that works.
See how well that works. Yeah, try that. Obviously not a hit piece. Try that on Jenna Ortega.
Mm-hmm.
So let's move on. Other movies opening this weekend. National Lampoon's Working Stiff.
Mm-hmm. A.K.A. A Working Man.
A Working Man. Jason Statham. So it's from the director of The Beekeeper. It's from David Ayers.
In a good spot right now, I think, for his talents.
Yes.
Working with Statham.
Yes.
On action films.
Yes.
Non-superhero related.
Yes. I think there was a point in David Ayers' career where he was punching above his weight in terms of the types of projects that he was doing. He's doing Brad Pitt movies. He was doing
Fury.
He was doing superhero movies with Will Smith. And I mean, his Will Smith Suicide Squad giant hit, made almost $1 billion, huge hit.
Mm-hmm.
But it all felt like that wasn't David Ayers' milieu. No. David Ayers working in low mid-budget actions with Jason Statham. That feels like the spot for him. The Beekeeper was incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Did well at the box office. But I got to say, A Working Man, I'm not feeling the buzz anywhere near what we had
with Beekeeper.
Mm-hmm. I don't hear anyone talking about this movie. Beekeeper felt like it broke through. The trailer, the title, the premise, that all broke through in a way that I don't feel like A Working Man has broken through at all. People knew the premise of The Beekeeper.
It had such a great, not that A Working Man doesn't have a great poster.
Mm-hmm.
But I haven't seen that poster around as much as I saw the Beekeeper poster.
Yeah.
Where it's Jason Statham in part of a beekeeper costume.
So great.
I'm sorry, uniform.
Mm-hmm.
Not
a costume.
Yeah, not a costume. Uniform.
His uniform is not your costume.
Exactly. And then like sort of turning into bees or covered in bees or something. It was a very evocative image.
Mm-hmm.
This, Statham holding a shovel. Like an upshot.
Yeah.
It's fine, but it's not fine.
It's not fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just not specific enough. Beekeeping is so specific that it sticks. A Working Man is so broad because is he a construction worker? Is he working at a bakery? Is he a accountant?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like these are all things. But to an accountant,
this is from a guy who works in an office. An accountant isn't a working.
I know, but you know what? You think of yourself as a working man if you're running numbers or on a spreadsheet, or if you're in there digging ditches.
Well, yeah, but
to the person who's doing the work, they think they're a working man. But if you say someone's a beekeeper, we know what a beekeeper is.
Yeah.
And I think A Working Man is just too broad of a title to stick with anyone.
Yeah.
Because we're like, a working man, everyone's a working man, I guess.
I guess, and that's the thing. I guess you're right, because my interpretation was, someone who, works for a living.
Right.
Goes out there, breaks their back, comes home exhausted, aching.
Right.
Covered in, I don't know, dirt.
Right. Soot. Yeah.
Soot.
Right. That's what you think.
People like myself.
Right.
And that's what I think. And I guess you think of a
going
guy
to an office
putting
like
stuff
10:30 in the morning, because you got stuff you had to do in the morning.
Yeah.
And you get to your office and you check in, you check emails. That's work. Mm-hmm. You check the Slack and see if anyone has any messages for you, and you check that. Mm-hmm. Then, around 11:45, you start thinking of lunch, and then you make your lunch plans. And you know what? Do I want to get lunch on my own, or maybe I'll have a meeting? Oh, you know what? I'll meet with someone over lunch, and then you do that, and that's like probably 12:30 to about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And then, or you got to check some more emails because you were at lunch for those 2 hours. So let me check the emails. And then 4 o'clock, you check with your team. You circle back on that with your team, and you see, did they get to this? Oh, you know what? Why don't we'll take this offline. We'll talk about this later. Maybe we'll do this tomorrow because it's already 4 o'clock. So it's time to start wrapping up the day. So why don't you shoot me an email on that, and I'll check on that in the morning. Tomorrow I'm getting in about 11 o'clock, so I'll check that email 11. Then I'll start planning lunch. Maybe we'll meet over lunch tomorrow about this. But either way, we'll circle back and just get in my inbox, and I'll see that later, and we can take care of that. And that's a working man, in my opinion. That's what I see work as. And of course, if you are watching us on YouTubers, we are YouTubers. Hey guys.
Hey guys.
You saw Clayton's physical reaction to me describing what I see as work.
A lot of circling back.
You got to circle back.
Yeah, you got to circle back.
You know, so when I see a movie called A Working Man, Jason Statham on the cover, I assume he's circling back, taking things offline, looping people in for awareness on an email thread. That's what I assume is happening in this movie. Whereas with the beekeeper, I know that in this movie he keeps bees.
Keeps bees.
And with A Working Man, it's just so broad. It's hard to know exactly, is he going to be mining soot? That's what you would think a working man does. I think, okay, is he circling back? Is he looping people into an email thread for awareness?
Does he have enough bandwidth?
Yeah, I mean, that's the third act is all about how much bandwidth he has. And does he have enough bandwidth? And that's what I assume is in this movie. And I think that's the problem of this marketing campaign is work is very nebulous.
When will he have time to circle back if he's kicking ass?
Right.
Is what your thought is. Now, what if it was the asphalt spreader or ditch digger?
Yes.
If it's the ditch digger, you know what this guy's doing.
Yes. And he's got the shovel in the poster.
He's got the shovel in the poster.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I agree.
And to me, though, I see a working man and I see he's got a shovel. And my thought, is he digging up old emails out of his inbox? Because that's what work is. Is he digging through his emails? Mm-hmm. You know, I see that shovel and I say, okay, he's a working man. He's digging through his emails. He's digging through his inbox.
Well, you think of the icon that they put on websites when they're under construction.
Yes.
Because that's work.
Yeah.
Is creating websites.
Oh, definitely. And not even the creation of them, but staying in communication with the developers who are doing that.
Who are actually making it.
Yeah.
Okay. So you're not...
We're
not you.
We're staying
the
in
you.
Yeah, the working man is
doesn't
staying
make anything.
Yeah, the working man staying in communication, supervising the creation of these websites.
So okay, as angry as I am.
Yeah.
I agree with you.
Yes, you get it.
Because, yeah. Please drink that coffee. You earned it.
I'm on the job.
Yeah. I think that if it would have been a more specific working person.
Yes.
Construction worker.
Yeah.
If it was called
the toll booth taker.
If it was the toll booth taker.
Yeah.
Is such a great name.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you owe me a fare.
Yes.
Right? So it could be almost like...
It's time for a change.
It's time for a change. Yeah. It could be a sort of movie that's like Payback, where, Mel Gibson was somebody who was owed money and wanted it back. This could be toll booth taker. Somebody just doesn't pay the toll. Turns out to be bad people. This toll booth taker was an assassin in an old life. He was a military guy, blah, blah.
Right.
He goes to get his 35 cents back, right? But then stumbles on human trafficking.
Yes.
He can't just let it go.
Right.
Toll booth taker's going to take the fare.
Yes.
And he's going to also save the kids.
Yes, he saves the kids.
Yeah, and I think that is like, then I know what this guy's doing. He's in a booth all day.
Right. But a working man, I just don't know.
Yeah.
And I assume it's Excel spreadsheet based.
Of course you do.
So that's that movie. I think definitely not as much buzz as The Beekeeper. But Jason Statham, he's got his built-in audience.
Yeah.
He's reliable. I'm not saying I think this movie is going to tank, but I just feel like it is a notch below some of the Stathams we've seen.
Absolutely. And it speaks volumes that you're going to see a movie with a compact critic, Chris Klemmer.
Yep.
I mean, it speaks volumes about your loyalty, which you've already said you're not loyal anymore. You've totally given up loyalty in every facet of your
To
life.
give it up would imply I've had
ever
it.
had
So,
it.
yeah.
So that shows that. But the other thing that it shows when it's pertinent to this weekend at the box office is that you're not going to see a working man with the compact critic Chris Klemmer.
And you're not going to see the working man right now. And we were there opening weekend of The Beekeeper.
Beekeeper were super
in IMAX.
Yeah, we did do that.
So that was a movie that we just had a lot of motivation for.
Mm-hmm.
And I think A Working Man is a movie I would love to see. Very well could end up seeing that in the next few weeks.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel must-see. And I think that is the general populace right now. It doesn't feel as must-see to that audience as The Beekeeper did. But I think it's got its floor being fairly high because of Statham.
It won't reach the heights of The Beekeeper for sure.
Yeah. So there is also a Chosen event happening this weekend, right? And that I haven't given much look to what this is. The Chosen Last Supper is coming out this weekend. We're about 3 weeks out from Easter at this point. Easter is I know it's the same weekend as WrestleMania. That's a big to-do, is that they're going head-to-head. Christ and Cody Rhodes are going head-to-head in a few weeks in April.
Yeah.
But we're still 3 weeks out from Easter. Is this the right time for a Jesus movie to hit theaters? Do we feel like people are getting into the Easter spirit now?
Yeah. I'm trying to look at
The Chosen Last Supper, season 5, only in theaters. So, okay, here we go. I got it in front of me. I'm on their website. The Chosen Last Supper, only in theaters. Part 1, March 28th. That's this Friday. Part 2, April 4th, which is next Friday. Part 3, April 11th. And then the following weekend will be Easter weekend. So
so they're rolling it out. That makes sense.
They're rolling out season 5
by the time
in 3 parts.
By the time they're sitting at the table, it's the right time for sitting at the table.
So it's 3 weeks in a row of The Chosen season 5 episodes. So we got basically The Chosen, The Last Supper, season 5, Ep 1. But they're calling it Part 1 because it looks like it's, broken up differently. Part 1 coming out this weekend. I'm curious to see if this is the biggest Chosen ever because of...
This is Endgame.
Is this their... Yeah, they're telling the story of the Last Supper.
Well, actually, it's probably Infinity War.
Yes.
Because the resurrection is...
Endgame. Because he does nothing after that.
No, after resurrection, it's all like Thunderbolts, the Marvels,
right?
Right. It's all about the apostles or the apostles' kids.
Right. Those are going to bomb.
Yeah, those are going to bomb.
Yeah. So this is the Infinity War of the Jesus saga from The Chosen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Infinity War was a gigantic movie. It kind of lives in the shadow of Endgame, but Infinity War is probably top 10 of all time box office. I don't have it in front of me, but I think people forget how big Infinity War was. So if this 3-part The Chosen season 5 is the Jesus Infinity War, this could be pretty big.
Yeah.
I am curious. These are events. So part 1 will probably not be in theaters next weekend. Part 2 will replace it.
Yeah. So that makes people go out and see it this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I think it does open on Thursday. I think they're doing like a full Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday situation.
Yeah. I'm curious. And listen, I'll be boots on the ground with Chris Klemmer, the compact critic, this weekend to see Death of a Unicorn. But I will keep my eyes peeled for the Chosen, The Last Supper, season 5, episode 1 screenings and see, maybe peek my head in and see what the audience is like. Do you think they will be in, I don't want to say in costume, in uniform for the Jesus movie this weekend? Do you think people are going to go dressed up?
You mean in robes?
In robes, in sandals, in that type of, Jesus era garb. The way that, Avengers movie opens up and you dress as Spider-Man, you see people dress up as Thor, that type of thing. Do you think that we will see a Pontius Pilate, a Judas of Icarus? Is that Judas's where he's from?
No, I don't think so.
You think?
Oh, maybe
you will see people dressed up as the big characters.
Were you talking about Judas of Iscariot? Yeah, it's not Icarus.
Yeah. Icarus
Iscariot
or something. Iscariot. Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll know. The person who dresses up as Judas will.
You don't need to know.
I don't need to know.
No.
I knew at one point in my life.
Yes.
And then I stopped knowing.
You did stop knowing. Is this going to be a big cosplay movie? That's a great question. I mean, that's the thing. Report on that on the next episode.
Yes.
Because I think this is a movie we're not going to know how the rest are going to do until we know how this one does.
Yes.
And I think that's something to talk about for next episode.
Definitely. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. Me and the compact critic, Chris Clemmer, we might be crouching. If he asks me, if he offers me the opportunity to, after we see Death of a Unicorn, do one of his patented post-movie crouching reviews.
Yeah.
And we might see a procession of sandals behind us in the back of the shot of people in cosplay heading to a screening of The Chosen, The Last Supper, season 5. And we're just seeing sandals and robes walking behind us.
But what you won't see is this guy, because I'm loyal and I'm not going to see a movie until I see it with Podcast Jesus.
Yes.
The real savior. Maybe in Boston, maybe in New York. Listen, Kirk wants to fly in. We'll go see a movie. We'll go to Serendipity 2. We'll make a day of it.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe you can come. Maybe he'll allow you to come. We'll see.
We'll see.
I doubt it, but maybe he will show forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
He will give you grace.
Turn the other cheek.
Turn the other cheek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's for Jesus of Nazareth. I don't think.
Or he might turn the other cheek and say, Stango, tell me how my ass tastes.
Right. He turns a different cheek.
Yeah.
The podcast Jesus. Yeah. So listen, either way, it's going to be great radio because we'll be covering all of this.
It's always great radio. The other thing.
Yeah.
There is another movie.
And
I think we can just hold off on this one, maybe tease it to talk about next episode when we're doing a review.
Yeah.
Is The Woman in the Yard.
The Woman in the Yard.
The Universal horror film.
Wow.
That I've seen posters for, but I don't think has a lot of buzz either. And it's not looking like it's setting the world on fire. That is also coming out.
Wow. And that is a wide release horror movie. So it feels like there is guaranteed a few $1 million that has to do just by virtue of the Gorehounds needing something to feast on.
I mean, listen, I'll say, I mean, I'm feeling like 7 on this. Like this feels like a 7
Lucky
mil.
Number 7. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into our predictions then. Who's in The Woman in the Yard? Was there anyone of note in that film? I know we talked about it with Jeff Bach, Exhibitor Relations Co. on our spring preview episode.
Mm-hmm. Looking at the cast and crew.
And then after we talked about it, the existence of that movie totally left my mind. But it is a horror movie. And it's been a little bit since those Gorehounds have been fed.
It's a Blumhouse movie directed by the director of the movie that hit Netflix and did pretty well, Carry On.
Okay.
And Black Adam.
Okay.
And Jungle Cruise.
So The Rock's guy doing a horror movie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna Colette Sarah Gillette Jimmy Colette Sarah.
Definitely, yeah,
I apologize
for sure. So interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, there's another. I mean, it's like we talk about a lot, especially this last year. It's getting harder and harder to get awareness for movies that are not the tippy top, Jurassic World, Marvel movie, that level of blockbuster.
Wow, I'm sorry, not to interrupt you, but this is like a really interesting career for this director. First movie, 2005's House of Wax. Have you ever seen that movie?
Of course, Paris Hilton. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
maybe her best role.
Yeah.
Well, second best. Yeah.
Second best role.
Yeah.
Orphan, directed Orphan,
Mm-hmm.
then pivoted to action with Nonstop, Run All Night, the Liam Neeson movies.
Did he do Rampage? Is he?
No,
Okay.
No, he did not do Rampage. He did Jungle Cruise and Black Adam.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a movie with some pedigree. This woman in the yard.
Yeah.
It's got a good idea. A woman being in a yard. No one wants people in their yard.
Yeah. Gosh.
But yeah, we did talk about on the spring preview. Should they have been again more specific? The woman in the shed. Something like that.
Yard B.
Yeah.
I said Yard B. Again, I apologize.
So let's do our top fives.
Okay.
And then we'll get more into that movie when we get the results. So would you like to go first, second, or, those are the only options since it's just two of us. Would you like to go first or second with your top five predictions?
I'll go second.
All right. So I'll go first. Despite Rachel Zegler, of course, as we learned from the Variety, not a hit piece, the opening weekend Disney Snow White was all her fault, but not
how much is she going to make this drop?
So let's see.
How much are the 2-year-old tweets going to make this movie drop in its second
So
weekend?
42 million the opening weekend. I think that because it is a kids movie and the rats need their cheese, despite her damaging tweets from 3 years ago, this is actually going to hold pretty well.
Okay.
And I think this weekend, it drops like 50%. I think it makes 20 or 21 million.
Okay.
I do not think it has a larger than normal drop. So I think that's number one. Number two, I think it's going to be Working Man at like 11 million. And then number three, Death of a Unicorn at 10 million. If Death of a Unicorn gets itself any higher than 10 million, I think that's Jenna Ortega. Because, my God, this movie has nothing going for it other than Jenna Ortega. But I think it will be number three. Then number four is going to be probably Woman in the Window. Gets itself to 5 million.
Woman in the Yard.
Woman in the Yard.
We'll see. Does she get it?
Does she get to the window? At some point, she's got it. By the end of the movie, she's got to at least get to the window.
From the
if
window
not
to
in the house
wall.
completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then number four is going to be. Well, let me see. That was number four, and then number five is Black Bag. Because I Snow White 1, Working Man 2, Unicorn 3, Woman in the Yard 4, Black Bag, I think, has another nice hold and is number 5.
Number one, I think this is a slam doink. Doink of all doinks.
Okay.
Despite the one woman wrecking machine.
Yeah.
That is Rachel Zegler, as we found out in the Not a Hit piece in Variety. I agree. I think that kids are going to see this. I think there is we saw with Mufasa, which Mufasa had pause. I'm not going to say that this is going to do similar business to Mufasa, but I'm not sold on the fact that this is a completely dead movie. I mean, if it does drop Morbius drop or Joker Folia Doo-Doo drop,
right,
then we know it's officially dead.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think this will drop probably like in the 50s. So I'm gonna say it does. I'm gonna say it does like 22, 21. Number 2, I also think it's going to be a working man.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's 10. I think it does 10.
Okay. I had it like 12, yeah.
I think then, under that, Death of a Unicorn, I'm going to say it does, I'd love to say 9, but I think it's going to be 8.
Okay.
I think it's going to be 8. Under that, Woman in the Yard, 7. Lucky number 7. I just feeling 7 on this.
7,
it just feels like a 7. And then number 5, I got to say, with all the empty chair hype, I think Captain America Brave New World, number 5.
Okay.
I think it overtakes Black Bag. I think Black Bag will still do very good. It's going to be close, but I think the empty chairs are going to get the Bazinga Bros excited, and they're going to shuffle out.
If they lived through today's live stream.
That's true.
You know, that is...
It could have killed the remaining audience for Captain America Brave New World. That's very true.
Exactly. You know, they were riding that tightrope today, walking that tightrope of exciting audiences, but then with these empty chair reveals of names, exciting them so much that they killed the audience. And I think we're going to find out a lot this weekend about the death toll from today's Marvel live stream of empty chairs with names on them.
Yeah.
Because if Captain America Brave New World really sinks at the box office, then we know we've got bodies piled up.
Yeah, if you live in a neighborhood or apartment building and you see somebody dragging an extra large gaming chair out of an apartment, throwing it in the trash, let us know, because that means that we have lost a Bazinga Bro.
Yeah. We don't want the chair.
No,
do not send us the empty chair.
Offers for chairs. Don't send any chairs to our P.O. box.
Do not.
Yeah.
Do not send us chairs, but let us know if that is.
Of course, our P.O. box is B.O. box, B.O. boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course it is.
Et cetera, et cetera.
So, God,
you know the address. We say it every episode.
If you see the email address,
yeah.
theboboyspodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Yes, like you said it. So
no, I was talking about the P.O. box that we have, the B.O. box.
The B.O. box.
B.O. box, yeah.
Yeah, don't mail us empty chairs to the gaming chairs to the B.O. box.
Yeah, we won't say the B.O. box this episode because of that. Just so you'll have to listen to every other episode where we say the P.O. box, which is, of course, B.O. box, et cetera, et cetera,
et cetera, et cetera. So don't send us those empty chairs. What a sad moment that is when, as a parent, grandparent, guardian, you have to pull out your adult-sized gaming chair, which is now not needed.
The hot Cheeto dust in the cracks, every crevice.
Cannot be vacuumed out.
No. That's why you got to throw it out.
NASA-grade vacuums cannot get that Cheeto dust.
No, it's just so embedded. It's like, yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll find out. I think the Captain America Brave New World box office really going to let us know a lot about what's going on at these morgues this weekend. Email us, theboboyspodcast@gmail.com. Of course, subscribe to the Substack. New articles going up all the time. We had our Snow White and the 7 Companions article. We got some more exposés hitting the Substack very soon. So subscribe there. Link in the show notes. Of course, follow us at our social media at the BO Boys Pod, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter X. Wanna BO VP of Interns Christopher is killing it with the vertical videos on these channels. So subscribe and follow us there. Of course, we are YouTubers. Hey guys. So you gotta subscribe to the YouTube channel. I mean, here we are in studio. It looks incredible.
Yeah.
People are loving these studio shows.
Yeah.
And we are going to be, listen, when the time comes up where the schedules don't work and we can't do it in studio, we won't, and it'll still be great and you'll still love it. But we are really making the move to more and more in-studio shows, and you got to follow us and watch on YouTube to get the full effect, because we are YouTubers. Hey guys. And 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. We've gotten some great new 5-star reviews. We'll read those soon. The mailbag, I think next episode we will lance this engorged mailbag. But of course, send us the boboyspodcast@gmail.com. And that is it. That is all I got.
Pat, I finished.
Great.
And you've said it all. Maybe too much.
Maybe?
But there's nothing left to be said.
Finally, I could leave.
Except for, until next time,
We'll smell you at the box office. Nailed it. Hey, guys.